Yeah, so I'm Katie Clubb. I was formerly Bristol, people probably will recognise that name more. So I currently run for Cambuslang Harriers, but I am born and bred from Shetland and moved back here after being at university. Um, so kind of my running history started off with Shetland AAC, and then on moving down to university, changed to compete for Cambuslang Harriers. And I also spent a year over in America competing for Northern Illinois University, which was a Division One school. So that was a really good experience as well. So my most successful years were probably as a kind of older under 20 athlete, under 23, and kind of my first year as a senior athlete. So I won a few Scottish national kind of under 20 cross country medals, medals on the road, on track. I suppose my most kind of notable performances would be that I won bronze in the Scottish 5,000 metres on track at senior level in 2014, I think. And I also won bronze at the Scottish 10,000 metre championship, which was in 2015. And I won the Scottish University 10K championships. I want to say 2013. This is really bad. I probably should have done my research. And I also kind of won minor medals in some of the Scottish University cross country championships over the years as well. And then, yeah, I went over to America as a masters athlete. So because I had had a few injuries during my time at university in Scotland, then thankfully I hadn't used up my full eligibility. So you can compete over 5 years, but can only use 4 seasons worth of eligibility. So it meant that I was able to have a full year over there competing, which I went into America really fit, and I'd had my most successful season, kind of track season to date. But I got a couple of injuries over there, and I just didn't seem to gel with the type of training that was over there. So my time in America wasn't as successful as I would have hoped it to be, but it was still like a really great experience to see how that whole setup is. I mean, you really were living and training like a professional athlete, and in such a team environment, which, although at university I'd had a really strong team in Cambuslang, you weren't kind of living and training every day with your teammates. So that was a really kind of unique situation to be in as well in America. Yeah, so I came back from America in 2016, and I didn't really plan on moving back home to Shetland, but I suppose you find yourself in those situations where it was like, I don't have a job, I need to go home. So ended up at home and actually fell into the job that I'm now currently working in, and I love it and enjoy it and couldn't see myself doing anything else. So that, I suppose, kind of cemented coming home for me. And then my partner at the time also moved home, and so I suppose we were kind of like setting a life up back here in Shetland. And I suppose I quickly saw that, although back when I was at uni, I would have been like, no, I can't go home. I want a training group and I need to be kind of in that type of environment for running. Actually, when you become an adult, it's very different. Um, you're not living the life of a uni student where you're kind of getting to go on runs whenever you fancy because you're only in uni a few hours a day and that kind of thing. So yeah, I suppose I quickly realised that actually, as an adult, your training setup as a distance runner, you might only meet up with your teammates a couple of times a week, and that's okay. So I don't really feel from that point of view that moving home was kind of a step back or anything like that. I then struggled with injuries. Like I think because I got injured in America and I just couldn't seem to shake off those injuries very quickly. So it wasn't until about 2018 that I was actually back competing again, and I managed to get a couple of races under my belt, kind of back running, kind of like low 17 minutes for 5K, Did a couple of 10Ks. They weren't brilliant, but they were kind of back around kind of 37 minutes or so. And then got injured again in 2019. I was building up to try and do half marathon. So that was a bit of a blow. And then got back from that, COVID hit, so there's no races. And then at that point, I think just with there being like no races, nobody knew what was going on with life, that yeah, me and my husband just decided, right, this will be a time to start a family. So fell pregnant in 2021 and had Arthur at the start of 2022. Yeah, so I actually had, although I'd managed to get a bit of running through 2020, it'd kind of been the same story, like niggles, little injuries here and there. So I wasn't really training kind of fully. I was only doing like maybe like 4 runs a week type thing, and it was very up and down. And that's when I got pregnant. So because my base wasn't particularly great at that point, then I did manage to run kind of through the first half of my pregnancy, but like I didn't do any sessions because I actually, when getting pregnant, wasn't up to doing kind of big sessions or anything. So I was just going out and doing easy runs. And then I actually found that at about 25 weeks pregnant, I just couldn't run because I had like a lot of pain underneath my bump. I did go to the physio, and they like tried doing this like taping thing. They thought it might kind of like take some pressure off it, and I tried running with like the support belts and things, but I would like literally go out the door and get to the end of the street, and I was like, nope. So so then yeah, from about 25 weeks until the end of my pregnancy, like I just cross trained, went in the pool. So and when I did that, it was just like half an hour doing it, as I feel like I wasn't training hard or trying to like keep up like a kind of really good base of fitness. That was just more for like my own sanity and not putting on too much pregnancy weight, to be honest. So yeah, that's how my pregnancy kind of played out. Yeah, so I think I always knew I wanted to start back up running kind of as soon as I could after having Arthur. I didn't really set out for any sort of goals or that I wanted to compete at a certain point. I just was like, for my own sanity, I want to get back running, feeling a bit fitter, and just see what happens. I think just being a mom, like the pressure was off. It wasn't like this, oh, I need to be able to do the Scottish Championships next year or anything. Like it was just like, I'll go and run. If I manage to get back to some sort of decent form, great, but we'll see what happens. And my physio actually is my best friend, so that helps loads. So she was like, when she was coming over to even just see me and Arthur, she would be like doing little checkups on me and things, and it got to be about like 10, 11 weeks, and she was like, I do think you are ready to run, like your body's fine, like if you want to go out and run, like that's good. So I just like built up really really slowly, kind of under the guidance of my coach Mike as well, and he just kind of, we just took it step by step, and it was like going out and doing like 3-minute run, 2-minute walk, and then doing that a few times and building up and building up. So actually until last like kind of like this time last year, I was really not doing an awful lot of running at all, like just maybe 3 runs a week, maximum 30 minutes straight through, that kind of thing. And then I just started doing my sessions on like the cross trainer in the pool. So my runs was just going out for an easy run, do the session side of things, kind of no impact. And it wasn't until March this year that I actually did any sort of hard running outside. And I actually think that's been like, I think that's why I've gotten to where I am fairly quickly. Like I feel like my fitness is back to a level that like back when I was at uni. And I think it's because I didn't push things too soon. I just took it really slow. And I haven't been struggling with the same kind of amount of injuries as I was before or anything like that. So yeah, it's been like a really slow build up, but actually from starting to do my sessions and my hard running kind of only in March this year, I've come on a lot in a short space of time, which is really good. Yeah, I have like a totally different perspective now on training and racing. before it was like you'd wake up and you'd be like, "Oh, I have this session tonight and it's this and it's that," and you'd almost like over prepare yourself for this session you were just going out to do that you do every week. It was just like in your head all day and whatnot. Whereas now, yeah, you just get up, be a mom. I know I've got training later, but that'll just take care of itself. And you get out, run hard, come back in, and then you just have to switch off again because you're straight into bedtime. You're like running after this toddler, trying to get them to calm down, and yeah. So it's just like completely different mentality. And I would say that I'm certainly far more consistent in my training. I don't know if that is just because like mentally I'm not putting as much pressure on myself. I go and get a session done. If it's been a good session, great. If it's not been that good, oh well, move on to the next day. It doesn't matter. So yeah, it's like a breath of fresh air now actually having Arthur, and although it's difficult, the juggling, and I suppose my husband, he's also a sports person. He's a footballer and competes for the Shetland football team. So he has a lot of training commitments and things. So we are like passing chips and having to coordinate and everything like that. But I actually think that's what keeps us motivated and keeps us going, that we have to be organised and you just get out and go and there's no procrastinating. And yeah, it's just I suppose our way of life now, and Arthur's just like fitted into it so well. He understands like dad going out training, mom going out running. He had a tantrum today because we drove past the running track and we didn't stop to go on it. So yeah, he's like fully aware of what mom and dad go out and love doing, which is really nice. Yeah, I think although it's hard, like I speak to like other mom friends that I have, and they're like, "How do you fit it in?" And you're like I just don't know if I could do that. And yeah, I miss out on things like pretty much every weeknight. I'm not there when Arthur's having his tea, because our routine is that Jack will come in, he'll then take over, I'll go out and train, and then I'm back in for bedtime happening. And yeah, that's a shame that we miss out on that. I get to miss out on that a lot of the nights, but we have our weekends where we do that, and it almost makes that even more special that we all get to sit down and have tea together. And I think the benefits that Arthur's getting from seeing like me and his dad going out and training and doing what we love is it's showing him that if you're really passionate about something and you work hard at it, that regardless of what level you get to and whatever it is, it's really rewarding, and it's important that people have that in their lives. They've got something that they can be putting effort into and be enjoying. So, and I suppose even just like the benefits of going out and being active and physical activity and all that kind of stuff. So I think like that kind of like in itself is rewarding for him. Like me not sitting there when he's having his tea, I don't think really matters every night of the week. So I would say like if you've just given birth or like fairly recently given birth and haven't done much exercise since then, I would say definitely go and see a women's health physio or any physio. We're unfortunate up here in Shetland, we actually don't have any specialist women's health physios, but I suppose I was lucky that given that my physio is my best friend, she was like able to kind of go away and do bits and pieces of research and come in and work with me. But yeah, I'd say that's definitely a big thing, because you don't want to go out and push yourself too early if your body's not ready for that. And I'd say definitely just like starting off slow and building up, and putting no pressure on. I think the first, well, to be honest, I'm still learning, and my little boy's nearly 2, but the first year of being a mom is just like chaotic. You're in this bubble, you don't know from one day to the next if you're coming or going. And I think it's okay to, if you wake up one day and you don't feel up to it, you don't have to go out and do that hard session. You can just swap your days around. If you've had a really rubbish night's sleep, don't try and kind of push your body through something that it might be okay for that session, but maybe in a couple of days' time you're not going to be benefiting from that. So yeah, I think it's just being flexible, and just kind of, I suppose, yeah, taking that pressure off, being kind to yourself. But I also say, as women, giving birth is wild. So if you can give birth, you can do anything. So that is like my new mental attitude. Like running around Cumbernauld the other week, I was like, I've given birth. I can go up and down these hills. It's fine.